The movie begins with a young boy named Dickie. Dickie is very poor, yet he studies at one of the best schools in the city. His father, Tay, works as a construction worker, and all the money he earns goes towards his son's school fees. At school, the teacher stops Dickie and asks him how he can come to school looking so dirty. Then Yun, a teacher, intervenes and walks the teacher away. Yun cares a lot about Dickie and doesn't like seeing him come to school in a dirty state. She wipes his face, and Dickie explains that he slipped and fell on his way to school. Yun asks him why his parents don't take him to school. He tells her that his father is always busy with work and doesn't have time, and his mother passed away when he was very young. He also mentions that he spends all his time alone at home. Yun tells Dickie that she needs to meet his father and talk to him. Dickie replies that it would be difficult because his father is always busy. Afterward, Dickie leaves and goes to his classroom. In class, the teacher, Mr. Sao, asks the students what they want to be when they grow up. A student says she wants to be an actress. Another says he wants to be a businessman. But when it's Dickie's turn, he says, "I want to be poor." The class is shocked, and the teacher asks him why. Dickie explains that his father told him that as long as he is a good, honest person who doesn't lie, people will respect him even if he is poor. The teacher accidentally drops his pen, and Dickie politely picks it up and hands it back. However, Mr. Sao does something unexpected. He tells Dickie to leave the pen on the ground and then picks it up using a tissue. He does this because he finds Dickie dirty. During recess, a rich student named Johnny shows his classmates his newest toy, a robot dog called CG1. Dickie is fascinated by the toy, but when he approaches, Johnny pushes him away and tells him to stay back because he is poor. Johnny then starts bullying another student for being short. He also makes fun of a girl named Maggie, who is bigger in size compared to the rest of the students. The other students laugh at her and call her a monster. Dickie steps in and tells them to stop. Later, during gym class, the teacher prevents Dickie from participating because his shoes are old and torn. Instead, he punishes Dickie by making him stand outside. Maggie joins Dickie as a way to support him after he defended her. She lies to the teacher, saying she forgot her sports shoes just to stay with Dickie. She asks Dickie if all his shoes are in such bad condition. He tells her that his father gets all his shoes from the garbage. Despite this, Dickie loves his father and is never ashamed of him, but he wishes he had a new pair of sports shoes so he could join the class. Meanwhile, Dickie's father, Tay, is struggling at work. He is weak and unable to carry bricks, so his boss decides to fire him. Tay pleads with his boss to let him continue working because he needs to buy his son a fan to help him sleep at night. His boss asks him why he works so hard to send his son to such an expensive school. Tay replies that he wants his son to receive a good education so he will have better job opportunities in the future and not end up like him. The boss is moved by Tay's dedication and allows him to stay. That night, Tay returns home with a fan, but their house is old and falling apart. Dickie is excited when he sees the fan, but when they try to turn it on, it doesn't work. Tay insists that he paid a lot of money for it, and it was working when he bought it. Dickie, disappointed, uses a piece of cardboard to fan himself as he studies. Later, they eat dinner together, and Tay cuts out the rotten parts of an apple to give Dickie the good parts. Dickie asks his father for new sports shoes, and Tay promises to get him a pair. Before going to sleep, they play their favorite game, hunting cockroaches around the house. The next morning, they sit outside a store watching TV, where a news report talks about a man who claims to have seen a flying saucer. Telaus, Tinkingseman is lying. Suddenly, he realizes Dickie is no longer beside him. Dickie has entered a toy store, where he sees a toy similar to Johnny's CG1. He asks his father to buy it, promising he won't ask for anything else. But Tay has no money, so he tells Dickie to leave the toy. As they walk away, Dickie runs back and grabs the toy again, refusing to let go. This forces Tay to slap him, making Dickie cry and run out of the store. Tay follows him and finds him with Yun, who is comforting him. Dickie loves Yun and hugs her. Yun tells Tay that she wants to visit their home and talk about Dickie's education. Tay feels embarrassed and hesitates to share their address, making excuses about being busy. That night, Tay goes to a junkyard and finds a pair of decent-looking sports shoes for Dickie. He also finds a TV and checks if it still works. Suddenly, the flying saucer from the news appears, rising from the junkyard and disappearing into the sky. Tay is shocked to realize the spaceship was real. It leaves behind a glowing green ball, which Tay takes home. He tells Dickie that he brought him a better toy than CG1. Dickie thinks the ball is useless, but decides to keep it and take it to school. Johnny sees it and asks what it is. Dickie proudly says, "I named it CG7, and it's better than CG1. Johnny mocks him, saying his father probably found it in the trash. This angers Dickie, who warns Johnny not to insult his father again, or he'll fight him. Johnny then calls over a huge student named Dragon. Dickie is scared and tries to be friendly, shaking his hand. But Dragon squeezes his hand hard and throws him to the ground. Johnny rewards Dragon with a lollipop. That night, Tay scolds Dickie for getting into a fight, blaming it for his torn clothes. Dickie remains silent, not knowing how to explain. Frustrated, he steps on the green ball, unknowingly activating it. The ball starts to transform in a strange way. Frightened, Dickie throws it away, telling his father that it's haunted. Tay, however, doesn't take him seriously and continues stitching Dickie's torn clothes. Dickie's son's t-shirt was torn during the fight, and the rooster started screaming. He began imagining ghosts in the house and started yelling at them, commanding them to be quiet. Dickie then saw the closet door open and looked inside to see who had opened it. He saw another ghost and screamed, which made his father angry. His father locked him in the closet for a few minutes. Dickie got scared and asked for help. At that moment, the green orb started to glow wildly and created a visual illusion for Dickie, making him feel like he was being transported to another reality. Dickie then saw an alien dog fixing something broken using waves. After this vision ended, Dickie saw that the green orb had transformed into an alien dog. He opened the closet and hid the dog. Dickie then asked him if he had learned his lesson, and Dickie replied, "Yes, of course." Then, Dickie got ready and went to work. Later, he sat alone with the alien dog. At first, Dickie didn't know how to interact with it, but he grew to love it and saw it as a kind creature. He decided to name it CG7. Afterward, he danced with it. CG7 then saw a rotten apple on the ground, but it used its power to restore it to freshness. Dickie ate it and found it delicious, which made CG7 very happy. The next morning, before going to school, Dickie decided to test CG7's strength. He told CG7, "If you can defeat that dog, you'll prove that you're strong." CG7 wasn't afraid and accepted the challenge, attacking the dog and striking it multiple times. He managed to defeat the dog, which made Dickie very proud. On his way to school, Dickie spoke to CG7 in the bathroom and asked for help to score 100% on his upcoming test. CG7 pulled out a box and created glasses for Dickie. These glasses allowed him to spy on his classmates' answers. During the test, the glasses released tiny robots that captured answers. However, by accident, Dickie hit the teacher while trying to destroy one of the robots. Another student, Fanny, also hit the teacher by mistake while trying to destroy the robot. After a while, the test results were announced, and to Dickie's surprise, he achieved the highest score. He was extremely happy because it was the first time he had ever scored perfectly. However, his classmate Saho was suspicious of him and saw his glasses. Dickie quickly threw the glasses away, causing them to explode in Saho's face. Later, Dickie told CG7 that his next class was physical education and that he needed a powerful sports shoe. CG7 quickly created one for him. During class, the teacher told the students that he held a record for the highest jump and that no student had ever broken it. However, Dickie easily jumped and shattered the record, shocking the teacher. The teacher then asked him to jump again because he couldn't believe what he had seen. As Dickie prepared to jump, the shoes made him soar into the air uncontrollably. Later, he went to the gym to run on a treadmill, and the shoes deployed iron legs, making him run at an extreme speed until he broke the treadmill. Even during swimming class, the shoes released propellers, allowing Dickie to swim incredibly fast. During a soccer match, Dickie kicked the ball so hard that it shattered the goalpost. The teacher became suspicious of his shoes and asked to see them, but Dickie refused. The teacher then attempted to take them by force, but Dickie fought back and defeated him. The principal was shocked and told Dickie that he had just gotten himself into big trouble. Soon after, the teacher brought the police to arrest Dickie. However, before they could catch him, the shoes lifted Dickie into the air, allowing him to escape. But then, the shoes malfunctioned, and to his surprise, Dickie realized he was dreaming. He woke up with a rotten apple in his mouth and was frustrated when he realized it was all a dream. His father, Tippy, ordered him to go to school. But when Dickie saw CG7 in his bag, he was happy because it meant that part of the dream was real. He was confident that CG7 would help him get a perfect score on his test. Before heading to school, he stood in front of the neighborhood dog and commanded CG7 to defeat it. However, the dog chased after him instead, pinning him behind a door. Dickie and CG7 ran away to escape the dog's attack. Dickie felt disappointed in CG7, but he still decided to take him to school. In the school bathroom, Dicky asked CG7 to help him cheat on the test, but CG7 couldn't. Dicky got frustrated and ordered CG7 to use its equipment to create glasses, but then he realized it was pointless. During the test, Dicky couldn't answer any questions, and time was running out. He felt hopeless because he hadn't written anything yet. To make things worse, his classmate Johnny started bullying him after the test. Dicky became furious with CG7, dunked his head in the bathroom sink, and angrily, instead, CG7 gave him socks instead of shoes. During gym class, the teacher ordered the workers to spray Dicky with hoses because he smelled terrible due to CG7. After being humiliated, Dicky pretended to forgive CG7 and told him to come out of hiding. CG7 fell for the trick and came out, but Dicky captured him and threw him in the trash. As Dicky walked home, he realized that what he did was wrong. He understood that he shouldn't rely on such a small creature. He decided to go back and rescue CG7, but by then, the garbage truck had already collected all the trash and driven away. Dicky ran after the truck, trying to stop it, but he couldn't. He returned home crying and told his father, "I lost the toy you gave me." Tippy was surprised and told him, "Your toy is right here." He took Dicky and showed him the toy. CG7 was overjoyed to see Dicky again and had completely forgotten what Dicky had done to him. Tippy was shocked to see the alien dog and asked Dicky what it was. Dicky replied, "It's just a toy." Tippy was suspicious and tried to squash it with a plate, but CG7 was still alive. Tippy insisted on destroying it, but Dicky stopped him. That night, Dicky couldn't sleep because of the heat. CG7 used its waves to fix the fan. After finishing its task, CG7 was exhausted and went to sleep to rest. The next morning, Tippy was surprised that the fan was working again. Dicky handed his test paper to his father, and Tippy was shocked to see that his son had scored a perfect grade. Dicky then took CG7 with him to school. Dicky's classmates saw Seiji, so he quickly hid in Dicky's bag. Johnny asked him what he was hiding in his bag, but Dicky ignored him and didn't respond. However, Johnny and the students grabbed the bag from him and opened it. Seiji jumped out and tried to escape, but Johnny managed to catch him while his friends held Dicky. Johnny used a lot of tools to try and kill Seiji, but none of them worked. Dicky attacked Johnny and allowed Seiji to escape. Just as Dicky was about to hit Johnny, the dragon appeared, grabbed his arm, and was about to strike him. But then Maggie appeared, grabbed the dragon's arm, and ordered him to leave Dicky alone. The dragon tried to attack her but failed, as Maggie was much stronger. She hit him once and sent him flying. The dragon then threw a water barrel at her, but she blocked it, causing it to explode in her hands. The dragon didn't give up and charged at her, but Maggie grabbed him by the waist and squeezed him until he fainted. She then went to Dicky, checked on him, and he thanked her for helping him. Then, Teacher Saw appeared and called all the students to the yard to scold them. Seiji went to Dicky and hugged him, and Dicky showed Seiji to his classmates. They were all amazed at how Seiji followed all of Dicky's instructions. Meanwhile, Teak was showing his colleagues at work that his son got a perfect score on his exam. Teak was very proud of him, but his boss told him that his son had lied. He didn't get a perfect score at all. He had actually gotten a 0 and altered the results to make it look like he got 100. He called Teak's son a failure and a cheater. Teak got into an argument with his boss for calling his son a failure. The next day, Teak confronted his son about it. Dicky admitted that he had changed his exam score and told his father, "I just didn't want to disappoint you." Teak told him, "I sacrifice everything to put you in this school, and I asked you never to lie." Feeling disappointed, Teak took Dicky's game from his bag and told him, "You won't get your game back until you score at least 60 on your next exam." Dicky agreed to his father's condition. During the school day, Teak came to the school to bring Dicky some food. Uni met him and told him, "Dicky told me everything, and I want to help him study because you don't have time." Teak thanked her and said, "I don't know how to repay you." He then left and went back to work. Later, his boss apologized for what he said and told him, "Your son is smart, and he is very intelligent. Everyone in the world cheats." He gave Teak some money and told him to buy something for his son. This made Teak happy, and he returned to work with enthusiasm. The next day, Dicky had an exam, but this time, he had studied well and put in his best effort. He managed to pass and scored more than 60. Meanwhile, Teak was working on a high floor when something unexpected happened. A gas cylinder fell from the building, and its rope pulled Teak down. He managed to grab onto a piece of fabric and was left hanging in mid-air. The workers tried to rescue him, but unfortunately, the fabric tore, and he fell. Uni rushed to inform Diki that his father had an accident. Diki rushed to the hospital to see his father. Uni learned from the doctor that Teek had died. Diki realized what had happened and was in complete shock, holding his exam paper that he had wanted to show his father. Uni took Diki home and asked if he wanted anything to eat, but he just cried and asked her to leave. He kept repeating, "When I wake up, I will find my father next to me because there's no way he would leave me alone." Uni left him alone, as there was nothing she could do. Diki cried all night. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Seiji 7 came out of Teek's bag and was saddened when he saw Teek's body. He used his energy waves to try and heal Teek. At first, the wounds healed, but it wasn't enough to bring him back to life. Seiji continued, using all his strength, even though his energy was draining. He didn't give up and kept going until he finally succeeded in reviving Teek. The next morning, Diki woke up and found his father sleeping next to him. He hugged him tightly and said, "Don't leave me again. I will do everything you tell me to." Then, they heard Seiji's voice. They found him extremely weak and barely able to move. Suddenly, he transformed into an ordinary toy. Diki and Teek tried everything to wake Seiji up, but nothing worked. Diki was heartbroken and neglected his studies. Then, he saw his notebook open and his pen rolling in front of him. He felt like it was a sign from Seiji to study. Diki started taking Seiji with him everywhere, hoping that one day he would wake up again. In the summer, all the students gathered. The dragon confessed his love for Maggie, and Teek got into a relationship with teacher Uni. One night, Diki saw a UFO in the sky, and at that moment, part of Seiji started to glow. Suddenly, many beings similar to Seiji appeared and ran toward him, trying to bring him back to life. And that brings us to the end of the episode. Don't forget to hit the like button and help us reach 10,000 likes. If you watched until the end, leave an alien emoji in the comments so I know who enjoyed the episode. Bye bye.